This is a 50 Polish zloty banknote issued by the National Bank of Poland dated 1988. The zloty code, PLN, is the official currency and legal tender of Poland. It is subdivided into 100 grosz. The widely recognized English form of the currency name is the Polish zloty. It is the most traded currency in Central and Eastern Europe and ranks 22nd in the foreign exchange market. The word zloty is a masculine form of the Polish adjective golden, which closely relates with its name to the guilder, whereas the grosz subunit was based on the groschen, cognate to the English word groat. It was officially introduced to replace its predecessor, the Polish marker, on the 28th of February 1919 and began circulation in 1924. The only body permitted to manufacture or mint zloty coins is Menica Polska, founded in Warsaw on the 10th of February 1766. As a result of inflation in the early 1990s, the currency underwent redenomination. Thus, on the 1st of January 1995, 10,000 old zloty, PLZ, became 1 new zloty, PLN. Since then, the currency has been relatively stable, with an exchange rate fluctuating between 3 and 4 zloty for a United States dollar. Though Poland is a member of the European Union, nearly 60% of Poles are strongly against replacing the zloty with the euro. The first form of tangible currency in Poland was the denarius, dinar, which circulated since the 10th century. During this period, Polish coinage had a single face value and was minted from bullion, primarily silver, but also compounded with copper and other precious metals. The standard unit of mass used at the time was the gazuna rather than the pound, with 1 gazuna being equivalent to 240 dinars. From the 1300s to the mid-16th century, the Prague groschen, or groat, dominated the market, and its high supply reduced the demand for a national currency across Central Europe. Certain cities and autonomous regions of the Polish kingdom held the privilege of minting its own currency, for instance the shilling, Silag, in the Duchy of Prussia, which Poland co-adopted in 1526. Initially, the term zloty, lit. The golden one, was used in the 14th and 15th centuries for a number of foreign gold coins, most notably Venetian ducats, florins and guldens. In 1496, the Czech Parliament debated on the creation of a domestic currency and approved the zloty, which until then acted as a unit of account. An exchange rate of 30 grosz was imposed for 1 gold piece, which remained the traditional subdivision until the 19th century. In the years 1526–1535, as part of an extensive monetary reform proposed by Nicolaus Copernicus and Justus Disuse, King Sigismund I defined the zloty as a legal tender in the minting ordinance on the 16th of February 1528. The Polish monetary system stayed complex and intricate from the 16th to 18th centuries until a monetary reform was done by Stanislaw II Augustus, which removed all other monetary units except the zloty divided into 30 groszy. Polish currency was then linked to that of the Holy Roman Empire by setting the conventions thaler equals 8 zloty equals 23.3856 G fine silver and the North German thaler equals 6 zloty equals 17.5392 G silver, hence 2.9232 G silver in a zloty. Radical changes to the currency were made during the Kosciuszko uprising. The second partition of the vast Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth resulted in the loss of approximately 200,000 square kilometers of land and precipitated an economic collapse. The widespread shortage of funds to finance the defense of remaining territories forced the insurrectionist government to look for alternatives. In June 1794, Tadeusz Kościuszko began printing paper money and issuing first Polish banknotes as a substitute for coinage, which could not be minted in required quantities. These entered circulation on the 13th of August 1794. The zloty remained in circulation after the partitions of Poland, and Napoleon's Duchy of Warsaw issued coins denominated in grosz, zloty and thalers, with the thaler, of 6 zloty slightly reduced in value to the Prussian thaler of 16.704 G fine silver, hence 2.784 G silver in a zloty. Thaler banknotes were also issued. In 1813, while Zamość was under siege, the town authorities issued 6 grosz and 2 zloty coins. Following the 1815 Congress of Vienna, Austrian and Russian sectors of partitioned Poland continued to use the zloty for some time, whereas the German sector replaced the thaler and zloty with the Prussian thaler and afterwards the German gold mark. On the 19th of November 1815, the law regarding the monetary system of Congress Poland, in Russia, was passed, which pegged the zloty at 15 kopecks. 0.15 Russian ruble, or almost 2.7 g fine silver, and the groszy at 1/2 kopek. And with silver 1, 2, 5 and 10 zlotic coins issued from 1816 to 1855. At the time of the 1830 November uprising, the insurrectionists issued their own rebel money, golden ducats and silver coins in the denomination of 2 and 5 zloty, with the revolutionary coat of arms, and the copper 3 and 10 grosz. These coins were still traded long after the uprising was quelled. As a consequence of the uprising, the ruble became the sole legal tender of Congress Poland, and in 1892 the Austro-Hungarian krona was introduced in Austrian Galicia. Between 1835 and 1846, the Free City of Krakow also used its own independent currency, the Krakow zloty, with the coins actually being made in Vienna. During World War I, the ruble and krona were replaced by the Polish marka, a currency initially equivalent to the German Papiermark. The marka stayed in use after Poland regained its independence in 1918, but was extremely unstable, disrupted the whole economy, and triggered galloping inflation. Second zloty. The zloty was reintroduced by the Minister of Finance, Władysław Grabski, in April 1924. It replaced the marka at a rate of 1 zloty equaling 1,800,000 marks and was subdivided into 100 grosz, instead of the traditional 30 grosz, as it had been earlier. Following its inauguration, the second zloty was pegged to the United States dollar through a stabilization loan provided by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The budget deficit ballooned and out-of-control inflation ensued. The zloty began to stabilize in 1926, chiefly due to significant exports of coal, and was reset on the dollar-zloty rate 50% higher than in 1924. Up to 1933 the zloty was freely exchanged into gold and foreign currency. Based on these developments, the Polish government made the decision to adopt the gold standard and maintain it for a significant period to attract global investors. Under the occupation during World War II, the Germans created an emissary bank, Bank Emisyjny, in Krakow, as Polish bank officials fled to Paris in France. It started operating on the 8th of April, 1940, and in May old banknotes from 1924-1939 were overstamped by the new entity. Money exchange was limited per individual, the limits varied according to the status of the person. The fixed exchange rate was 2 zloty per 1 Reichsmark. A new issue of notes appeared in the years 1940-1941. On the 15th of January 1945 the National Bank of Poland was formed, and a new printing plant opened in Lodz. The series II and III notes were designed by Ryszard Kleczewski and Wacław Borowski. The first 3 series were taken out of circulation in line with legislation signed on the 28th of October 1950, covering the introduction of a new zloty with a revived coinage system. Third zloty, PLZ. In 1950, the third zloty, PLZ, was introduced, replacing all notes issued up to 1948 at a rate of 100:1, while all bank assets were redenominated in the ratio 100:3. The new banknotes were dated in 1948, while the new coins were dated in 1949. Initially, by law with effect from 1951 zloty was worth 0.222168 grams of pure gold. Fourth zloty, PLN. With the fall of communism in 1989 and successive hyperinflation in 1990, the zloty had to be redenominated. On the 11th of May 1994 a redenomination project from the NBP was approved. The act allowing the project to come into force was ratified on the 7th of July 1994. Thus, on the 1st of January 1995 the old 10,000 PLZ became the new 1 PLN. Redesigned coins and banknotes were released, featuring Polish monarchs, which were printed by De La Rue in London, until 1997. And PWPW in Warsaw, from 1997. Between 2013 and 2014, the banknotes received additional security features. The design does not differ greatly from the original 1994 series, but are distinguishable by the added white-colored field with a watermark on the obverse. The updated notes also possess randomly arranged dotting, which are part of the Orion constellation. On the 10th of February, 2017, a 500 banknote with the likeness of John III Sobieski began circulating. In 2021, Adam Glapiński, president of the National Bank of Poland, announced that a 1000 note will be introduced in the near future. Future of the zloty. One of the conditions of Poland's joining the European Union in May 2004 obliges the country to eventually adopt the euro, though not at any specific date and only after Poland meets the necessary stability criteria. Serious discussions regarding joining the eurozone have ensued. However, Article 227 of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland will need to be amended first. Public opinion research by KBOS from March 2011 shows that 60% of Poles are against changing their currency. Only 32% of Poles want to adopt the euro, compared to 41% in April 2010. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like our video and click the subscribe button.